guys, what's up? It's Eunice and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, this is going to be a fun one, first impression slash wear test of the new e.l.f. Camouflage Concealer. So this concealer is only $5. The claims are as follows. It's 16-hour wear, crease-proof, full coverage, matte. And it comes with an oversized doe foot applicator. So I thought that the best way to kind of review and test this product out is to compare it with the Tarte Shape Tape, because a lot of the claims of this e.l.f. concealer is similar to the Tarte Shape Tape. But of course, the price points for these two concealers are very different. $5 for the e.l.f. Camouflage Concealer and $27 for the Tarte Shape Tape. So when it comes to the amount of products that you get a full 10 ml in the Tarte Shape Tape, while you get 6 milliliters from the e.l.f. concealer. And another thing to note is both of these concealers are matte. I'm in love with the Tarte Shape Tape even though I have dry skin. I just don't use it when the weather is so cold, like it drops to like 30s and whatnot. But today it's kind of high enough for me to test out matte concealers, and a lot of the other products that I'm using today are my tried and tested products so that we can focus on the e.l.f. concealer. So yeah, without further ado, let's get onto the makeup and let's test this product out. So first, let's start with a primer. I am using my Becca First Light Primer. Like I said, I'm using tried and tested products so that I know if something goes wrong, it's the new product that I'm using, because all of these products have been my favorites for a while now. I've also been using a new primer that I use underneath the Tarte Shape Tape, but I didn't want to use that today just because I really wanted to focus on this concealer. That is good. Already moisturized my face and whatnot. So now let's use some foundation. I'm using the Too Faced Born This Way. This has a good medium to full coverage, so this is what I'm using today. I use the shade Sand and just like one pump. And we're using a beauty blender to blend in our face products for today. And what I like to do is not go over like my under eye area because I am using a full coverage concealer. Okay, I think we're good with the foundation. Now let's start with the Shape Tape, since this is a tried and tested product. The way that I like to use Shape Tape, since it's really full coverage, I don't really do that whole triangle thing. What I like to do is just dot it along my under eye area and then apply a little bit on my nose. And I've had this Tarte Shape Tape for, I want to say more than 6 months now, and there's still a lot to it, but also, granted that I use different products all the time because I test out so many products. Anyway, just blending it in with our... And this Shape Tape is my first Shape Tape, so I got a shade that's a lot lighter than my skin tone. As you can see, it's so bright, but that's fine because once I apply powder, contour, and bronzer, my eyes are just gonna look super bright, and that's what I like for my concealer. We'll also like apply a little bit on my eyelids. I'll use that as my primer for today na rin. Okay, so there. And then we're gonna immediately set it with powder, since it is something that you have to set right away. I'm using my Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Setting Powder. This is one of my favorite powders, actually. So we'll use the blending sponge, well, the beauty blender, to kind of set our under eye area. And then what I like to do is actually immediately brush that all over my face. Like I said, it's super bright because I got a shade that's really lighter than my skin tone, because that's how I like my under eye concealer. So that is the Tarte Shape Tape side, and then now let's use the e.l.f. 16-hour Camo Concealer. I got this in the shade Medium Beige. I got this from Target because my Ulta did have it in store, and I just eyeballed the shade. I was like, oh, this kind of looks Okay, so let's swatch this. This is light medium from Tarte Shape Tape, then the medium beige from e.l.f. Oh wow, it looks a lot warmer than light medium from Shape Tape. This one has kind of a peachy undertone. Not sure if you can see that as compared to the e.l.f. medium beige. But just to show you guys comparison, like a side-by-side comparison, here is your Shape Tape, here is your e.l.f. So there's a 4 milliliter difference between the e.l.f. and the Shape Tape content. And then with the doe foot applicator, I don't think this did Tarte patent their doe foot applicator, because if they did, I honestly think that they're almost the same, but the e.l.f. one looks kind of chunkier, which I don't really mind. So that's just the difference, and now let's use it. The e.l.f. concealer looks like it has a little bit more of a yellow, a warmer undertone. Okay, why did I do that? I wouldn't mean to do that, but I think that's enough for that area. I'm so used to this motion with it when it comes to my other concealers, which are more of a medium coverage. That's why I did that, but that's fine. I don't think I applied that much. So I'll use the other side of the Beauty Blender. Blend in that concealer. Okay. It's a little bit of yellow. Okay. Of course, it looks so weird on camera, but once our whole makeup look is done, it's gonna look better. Super easy to blend, and it looks smooth, not yet creasing, I think, and it's definitely full coverage. So excited to finish up our look for today and see how this looks on my face and how it will wear throughout the day, because it's so inexpensive at $5. Let's set this with powder. Okay, right off the bat, as you can see, this one is a lot lighter than this side of my face. Here is like the Tarte Shape Tape, and then this is the e.l.f. concealer. The e.l.f. concealer is a little bit darker. But yeah, I'm gonna save my thoughts and I'll finish off my makeup look first, and then I'll let you guys know what I think. But just to show you guys like a zoomed in, it's definitely full coverage. I'm gonna fast forward through this makeup look, and then I'll be back to give you guys my honest thoughts and opinions about the e.l.f. concealer. Alright, so I am back to give you guys my initial thoughts about the concealer. So right off the bat, it was really blendable, super easy to work with. It didn't dry out too quickly, and when I first applied it, I did see a little bit of dewiness to it, but then once it set, it was already kind of matte, and that's one of its claim. It's full coverage and it's a matte finish, and I really don't mind that when it comes to the concealer, because I like my foundation to be a little bit dewy, radiant, but for my concealer, I really don't mind it when it's matte, because it just really helps cover up my under eye area and brighten it up a lot more. But one thing to note though is the fact that I'm comparing it with my Tarte Shape Tape is the fact that my Tarte Shape Tape is a lot lighter. The shade that I have here is a lot lighter, so this appears to be brighter than this side of my face. But I definitely feel that the medium beige is a lot better for my skin tone. Like, it's the right shade match compared to my Tarte Shape Tape, because this is a lot lighter. So medium beige is looking okay, and as a shade reference, I am an NC40 in MAC Cosmetics, so there you go. It's not creasing or anything like that. I can definitely see that it's full coverage. Apart from the fact that these are two different shades, there's not that much difference, and I'm just excited to see how it wears throughout the day, if it's going to start to like break out or whatnot as the day goes. But I already applied some setting spray and whatnot, and I'm kind of liking it. For $5, it's really not that bad. Of course, we all have different skin types and whatnot, so do take note of that. Like I said, we are going to do a wear test, so I am going to show you guys a before and after pic after this part of my video, and I will be right back after 8 hours to talk to you guys about how it wore throughout the whole day. Hey guys, so it's been 3 hours and I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on the concealer. So I'm in my room so I can get some natural lighting to show you guys. I just have my ring light on my camera, my camera on my ring light, and here it is. Here is the update. As you can see, there's not much creasing. It still looks good. It's not like caking up or anything like that. It's also not clogging up my pores, and I really like the finish of it. I think the shade is definitely right for my skin tone. And honestly, if you look in the camera or if you look in person, both concealers look the same. It doesn't look like they're different brands or like really totally different concealers. The only problem is this one, like I said, is a little bit brighter. So that's when you kind of see the difference. But yeah, for this 3-hour update, I think it's looking good. Hey everyone, so I am back and it's been 8 hours since I applied makeup on my face, and jumping off from the 3-hour check-in mark, I am going to look in the mirror now and I definitely see some creasing. But one thing to note though is that the wear of the e.l.f. concealer is very similar to how the Shape Tape wore on my skin. Like, I have dry skin, so I definitely know that it is gonna crease at some point because of how dry my skin is and because the concealer has a matte finish. But I want to continue to use this and see if I can use other products with it. Like I said, I will continue to use this. I will use it again tomorrow and check in with you guys. But for my initial thoughts about it, it did what it said it would. It was full coverage and it was a matte finish. Now, I don't usually go for matte finish products, but when they said it was a Tarte Shape Tape dupe, and I am so in love with my Shape Tape, despite the fact that it's a matte finish concealer, I definitely think that it can be a dupe, but I want to try it a little bit more. So as you can see, it's starting to crease, but it's not breaking out. It's still there. I can definitely see my concealer is still intact. So it's definitely long wearing, but since I do have dry skin, it's kind of creasing in that areas already. So that's something to note. You do have to apply a really hydrating moisturizer and primer underneath it. And of course, do your best to not put too much powder. I may have put too much powder on it because of the fact that it's, matte. A lot of powder and the matte finish, it just doesn't go well with my dry skin. But if you have oily skin, I can definitely see that you will like this. And if you use the Tarte Shape Tape, this is definitely a good dupe because looking at it in my mirror, it wore the same way. The Tarte Shape Tape and the e.l.f. concealer looks the same after 8 hours. I definitely think that this has more coverage than this part of my under eye. So yeah, that is my initial thoughts about the e.l.f. concealer. Do I recommend it? Yes, if you are into a matte full coverage concealer, do try it out. But of course, the shade range is kind of limited. It only has 18 shades, and I got medium beige. I think it worked out for me, but I usually go for something that's a little more lighter just because I want to brighten up my under eyes. But I think this kind of works. So if you want to try it out, I'll have links of the products that I use in the description bar as usual. And I will be back tomorrow to check in with you guys when I try it out with a different primer and whatnot and talk to you guys about it. I won't be comparing it to the Shape Tape anymore. I'll just be using the concealer tomorrow. So yeah, see you guys tomorrow. Hey you guys, so it's the second day that I'm using this e.l.f. concealer. It's what's on both of my under eyes today as well as my eyebrows. I concealed my brows today so it looks a little bit more snatched. And to be honest, I'm still loving it. For $5, you get what you pay for. It's full coverage and it's matte. So I'm going to wear test this today, and at the end of the day, I'm going to check in with you guys and talk about my final thoughts on this concealer. Hey you guys, so it's 4 p.m. now and it's been 8 hours, and I just want to show you guys how it wore. So it still wore the same way. It still looks okay. It's not breaking up or anything like that, which for a $5 concealer I think is a good deal. So I still stand by what I said yesterday. I highly recommend this concealer if you want something that's full coverage and matte, like a medium to full coverage matte finish concealer. Highly recommend this e.l.f. concealer. But one thing is, just don't compare it to the Shape Tape because the prices are so far apart. You still get something that's a lot more smooth when you use the Shape Tape, but for $5, this is not that bad. So yeah, if you're looking for an affordable drugstore concealer and if you're looking for something that's a matte finish, highly recommend this. If you don't like matte finish concealers, don't buy it because it's really matte. And if you have dry skin, I have dry skin, it's a cold day today, but it's not breaking up on my under eyes or anything like that, so that's also a good deal. So yeah, final thought is highly recommend this for $5. It's a good concealer if you're trying to save up. I highly recommend this for concealing the brow area as well because it's so inexpensive. So even if I conceal my brows every day, it doesn't break the bank. So yeah, that is everything that I have to say about this concealer. If this video helped you in any way, shape, or form, do give it a thumbs up. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. Once again, it's Eunice. See you guys next time. Bye!